A king's ambition, a nation's pride, launched to glory and sank within minutes on its maiden voyage. In the summer of 1628, Stockholm buzzed with anticipation. Sweden, a rising power, was at war, and King Gustav Roman II Adolf demanded a flagship unlike any other. This wasn't just a vessel. It was a floating symbol of his might, destined to dominate the Baltic Sea. But unseen flaws lurked beneath its grand design, flaws that would seal its fate almost immediately. Named the Vasa, after the royal dynasty, the ship was a marvel of its age. Boasting 2 gun decks and 64 bronze cannons, it was an unprecedented war machine. The king himself had insisted on more guns, leading to significant changes mid-construction, making the ship taller and heavier than originally planned. A gamble on the high seas. Before it even left the harbor, naval architects of the era relied more on tradition and rule of thumb than precise calculations. The Vasa's designers had never built a ship with 2 gun decks quite like this. They struggled to balance the king's demands for firepower with a fundamental need for stability. The result was a top-heavy behemoth, dangerously narrow for its height, a precarious monument to hubris. On August 10, 1628, the Vasa stood ready for her maiden voyage from the Stockholm Naval Yard. Cannons fired in salute, flags snapped in the gentle breeze. Hundreds of onlookers, including foreign dignitaries and proud citizens, lined the shores, eager to witness this powerful new addition to the Swedish fleet depart for its first patrol. Under the command of Captain Sirfring Hansen, the great ship was slowly warped away from the quay. Her sails were unfurled, catching the light breeze. As the Vasa cleared the sheltered harbor, a slight gust of wind caught her rigging. The massive vessel immediately listed heavily to port, sending a ripple of unease through the crowd. But then, with a slow, agonizing groan, the Vasa righted herself, and a collective sigh of relief swept across the onlookers. Perhaps it was just a shakedown, a new ship finding her balance. The captain, however, knew the ship was dangerously unstable. Tests weeks earlier had been stopped because the ship leaned too far with just 30 men running across the deck. Tragically, that relief was short-lived. A second, stronger gust of wind struck the Vasa. This time, there was no recovery. The ship keeled over violently, her open gun ports dipping below the waterline. Seawater surged in, engulfing the lower decks, trapping crew and their families who were on board for the short initial journey. Within minutes, the great Vasa settled into the shallow harbor mud, just 120 meters from shore, her masts still piercing the surface. An estimated 30 to 50 people, mostly women and children, perished. A royal inquiry followed, but no one was ever truly blamed. The truth was, the king's own demands, coupled with the era's limited understanding of naval architecture, had doomed the magnificent warship. If you're drawn to tales of ambition meeting the ocean's unforgiving might, perhaps the legendary ghost ship, the Flying Dutchman, awaits your discovery next.